stream, and I'm going to record as a backup. Hold on. All right, you're good.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is the Sanitation and Environmental Protection Committee meeting, Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. It's at 7:24. We don't have a quorum, so we won't conduct any official business. But what I did want to talk about was the end of community composting. It's citywide due to the current budget cuts. There is still going to be curbside composting pickup in the Bronx. It has been delayed from March until October 2024. So that part of the composting hasn't been cut, but community composting has been cut. That affects 9 different organizations, 115 jobs, and 53 of those are union jobs all across the 5 boroughs. So I did have a guest speaker, and I just wanted to talk to her about, she could talk about curbside pickup or what effect there is of losing the community composting, and not just those employees, but all the volunteers that they outreach to the community and give education to and try to get the citizens on board with taking care of their organic material in the most effective, efficient way, and also the most a cheap way too, because a lot of these community composters that are losing their jobs reach out to other volunteers, and the volunteers then go out into their own communities. So that's at no cost to the city. So really, the city is just going to cost themselves more money in the long run by cutting those programs. Vivian, is there anything you could talk to about that?
Yes, I want to introduce myself, Vivian Carter, and I am an outreach associate, but I am speaking to you all like sort of unofficially because of the fact that generally the sanitation department does their own presentations at community board meetings. But because of this situation, obviously there's not a lot of information coming out of the department or the mayor's office. I attended the budget meeting the other day at City Hall for almost the entire day, and there were many, many questions from the City Council, not only about this cut, but many other agencies that you all are probably interested in. So it was quite a lengthy hearing with a lot of public input. The room was packed the full day from, I guess, it started at 9 a.m. and went on till I heard like 11 p.m. So it was a really long meeting, and I was there for a good 2/3 of it. And basically at the meeting, sanitation answered, well, not sanitation, but the question was answered by the mayor's director of the Office of Management and Budget, Jacques Giha is his name. And he basically said the plan is for the New York City Sanitation Department to handle outreach responsibilities when the curbside composting team is no longer in place. So it is our 10 jobs on our team that my colleagues and I work doing exclusively curbside composting outreach for the residential program. Our jobs are only 10 of the 115. So they have worked in tandem with us. When we rolled out Queens and Brooklyn, the sanitation executives, workers from the trucks, basically staff people, there were just a ton of sanitation people who worked side by side, canvassing neighborhoods, speaking to residents in Brooklyn and Queens, and we all worked together using an app where we downloaded the information, and our effectiveness as a team was way higher than anything that sanitation achieved. So we are a very professional team, and it's too bad that this is the substitute, is to have basically this other team that's going to be pulled from their regular duties to cover it. So that's their plan. As of the budget hearing, it was announced. So that being said, we are all slated to disband the team in January. So we appreciate the people who have already signed the petition to restore. I have some very good news, which is, again, unofficial because I just got a text that apparently some sort of an investor or grantor, a foundation or some donor is covering all the jobs at Grow NYC that were being eliminated, which is like a good half of the cuts. And that was just as of this afternoon that this apparently has been posted online. If any of you have seen the Grow NYC social media, it may be on there. And that's just absolutely wonderful news because it means the food scrap drop-offs that are at the farmers markets that Grow operates will be kept intact. So that you would obviously want to confirm with them directly, but we heard that secondhand, and it was very exciting news.
Very good.
So, yeah, I don't have a lot else to say about the prospects of the rest of it being restored because Big Reuse operates 2 processing facilities in Gowanus, Brooklyn, and then there's one in Queensbridge under the trestle. And those 2 big processing sites where Big collects scraps from other markets and processes it, those jobs would be lost in any event. So we're hoping maybe there'll be an investor out there that will help Big Reuse as well so that we don't all get laid off as well. But we appreciate I understand that your committee is considering drafting some sort of a letter. I know that Community Board, I think it's Community Board 6 in Queens, the one that's located, I think Frank Galucio is the district manager of that district, who recently retired. They drafted a letter to the mayor and the commissioner about elimination of the curbside composting outreach team and the community composting operations. So that was a very nice letter, and if you're considering doing that, that's great. I think it's a wonderful idea. So I think that was posted online somewhere. You should be able to find it on social media. I think I saw it on Twitter or Instagram, the letter from Community Board 6.
Thank you
So
for that.
I'm open to taking questions if you have any questions.
I was saying the important dates that are coming up within the city council for the budget meetings. Do you know, is that the 20th?
Well, I am not in, I've been working steadily. Last Monday night after the budget hearing, I had a outreach event at a high rise in Brooklyn. Then last night we had our staff Christmas party, so I was out all evening at that. And then I came in this evening to Brooklyn as well for another. So I haven't really been on the computer, like checking a lot of stuff lately. I look at my social media, but I don't know whether the city council even voted yet. We were kind of curious about that, and I just, I'm not sure whether they voted or not. Anybody know?
No.
Do you think that the 20th is another date for a stated meeting, or?
I don't know the answer to that, but I do have a question for your guest, if that's okay.
Yes. Yes, please,
Sure.
So you said Frank retired, Frank Lucio?
Repeat that, please. Okay.
You said Frank Lucio retired.
Yes, I just read that last week.
I did not know that. Thank you for informing me of that.
Okay.
That's it, Roger. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, I don't. No questions about compost.
No.
I mean, I will say I'm very glad you brought her. It's definitely informative. So for what it's worth, Roger.
Yeah, that tip about Grow NYC, I mean, unless you're following their social media, you would not have heard that because I don't look at my phone every minute of the day and I was not aware. So you can share that certainly publicly.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
How much do you think in the long run that sanitation is going to either lose out on the volume of organic material that they collect, or the excessive amount of people they're going to have to hire to make up for the amount of outreach that all these other organizations have been doing pretty cost effectively?
Well, I imagine that, the explanation at the budget hearing was that, they've cut from this year's budget now to fill the gap. The PEG cuts are even before June. So then there's going to be negotiation over next fiscal year's budget. And the outreach for the Bronx was slated to start like right in January, probably January, February for sure, because it was supposed to roll out in March. And generally in Brooklyn and Queens, we were out there doing outreach at least more than a month before it started. So I was kind of disappointed, but to be honest, rolling it out in March did not really seem ideal because we canvass house to house and we could be doing that in the snow, which is, you know, very slow going, and I don't think it's ideal. So I thought, oh, if they postponed it a couple of months till it was a good time to reach people, that would be great. But, you know, we weren't really consulted. Obviously, the budget cuts came from the commissioner's office, and we were just informed that this is what the commissioner wanted to do. So I think the obstacle is going to be that outreach, I thought, was easier in Brooklyn than it was in Queens, because more people in Brooklyn were more familiar with curbside, at least in the districts that we worked heavily in. But in Queens, many people were not that familiar, and we had a lot more language barriers in Queens, whereas, and it's going to be similar in the Bronx, that, you know, you would probably need to have a large number of Spanish speakers to get out there and go door to door in many neighborhoods in the Bronx. So, you know, they're going to probably have to consider bringing on a consulting firm to do some of this canvassing with specialized skills, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So are they stopping the composting program, or they're just
No, they're not stopping. The collection in Brooklyn and Queens, we've been told, is still continuing and is not going to stop. But the events where we go out, like tonight, and we take 150 kitchen containers and scrap bins, as they call them, to the buildings and explain to people how it works, where is your bin going to be, this is how you collect your scraps. You know, it's public education that's getting cut. So people will still have a brown bin, and they'll just have to figure it out in communication with their neighbors. So there's a lot of gaps that can be filled by volunteers who care about the program. And thank you all for taking leaf bags out tonight. Actually, I meant to also mention that there are 3 leaf bag drop-off sites that people in the area could be using in the Bronx. So if you look on the map on the Sanitation website, they have little dots for 3 scraps drop-offs. But I think 2 of them are at Grow NYC Markets, and they might have their last pickup on, I think they're either Thursday or Fridays. The market's up on Gun Hill Road, and then there's another one they do. I'm not exactly sure of the other location. The one on Gun Hill I know, but there was a second Grow Market where they pick up leaf bags if you filled them and you have nowhere else to dispose of them. Because neighborhoods that don't have curbside composting pickup, they've already had the last special leaf collection last Sunday. So you'd have to take them to a drop-off to be sure they get turned into, you know, usable organic base for, you know, compost or clean energy.
And then the big reuse, those 2 sites that you are, we don't know the future of, that's
Right.
all, those compost sites are all outside. So mostly it's breaking down aerobically, as opposed to a lot of the brown bin collections. Aren't those anaerobic digesters?
Right. The Brooklyn scraps and apparently some of Queens is also going to Newtown Creek to anaerobic digestion, yes. So there's a lot of pushback on that. But at this point, the big reuse composting operation has been processing everything, you know, with machinery, but by hand in the sense that it's not a collection of meat and dairy and all of the things that the city collects. It's vegetable scraps and leaves, and they mix them together, and they use like forklifts, and they have big piles that they turn by hand. So a lot of it's done, you know, human assisted with some equipment, but it's definitely done. If you want to look at we did a little video online, there's some footage of the Queensbridge site in that video. It's posted to Instagram on the Big Reuse Instagram account. You can see a short film about how to do that.
And then your end product would be usable compost that you would give back to the community, correct?
Yes, we bag that compost sometimes with volunteers. We did a big, huge one about 2 months ago with students at Brooklyn College, where we took a lot of compost from the salt lot in Gowanus, where we do hand processing, and then they helped us bag it, and then we gave it out, and we have about 30 crates left in our office that we give. They each have 30 little bags in them, and we give them at Christmas events and tree lightings and things. So, yes, we're still, through December 20th, we're still staffing events in parks and things. So I was just very disappointed that I, kind of wanted to be able to do some outreach in the Bronx in December, but our team was still working in Brooklyn, so I wasn't able to do that because I did cover Community Board 8 in the Bronx, and I also did a lot of outreach in all the districts. I did 11, I did 12, I did 2, 4, 6. Yeah, I was out during 2021 and part of into 2022 in Bronx neighborhoods all over. As far as like City Island, Throgs Neck, farmers markets, I went to so many sites. Parkchester, I was there at their grow market with the team. So we did a lot of outreach in neighborhoods before we were kind of told, okay, this, situation is going to change here, and we're going to roll out Queens in August of 2022 is when they rolled out Queens.
Very good. And just a question about the anaerobic digesters. Some of that byproduct of that is more methane gas.
Yes, I was told that the problem is sometimes there's a lot of impurities in the wastewater at Newtown Creek. In other words, maybe detergents, all of these chemicals that go into making these detergents and the dishwashing. So, you name it, it's all going into wastewater. And that's apparently what's been the obstacle to getting the equipment to work properly. So if the machines aren't working properly to produce the biogas, yes, it's getting flared off. Okay. So there's a lot of environmentalists that are very upset about this situation. That's, polluting the air in Greenpoint.
Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions, but thank you for coming in and sharing that information with us.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, it's all unofficial. The thing about Grow, I'm happy to share public information, but anything about big reuse and our status, I have no more information than what I read in the media, and our managers tell us things day by day that, either we are getting any update or we're not. So usually it's no updates. Okay?
All right. Thank you
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Thank you all for volunteering to do what you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, good night. Bye.